What's going on, everybody? I hope you had an awesome weekend. I'm going to fire out part 3 of how to build culture in the workplace today, and this will be the last part of this series. So really quick recap of what we talked about. We talked why culture is important, and then we talked how to build it. So first thing we talked about was Maslow's hierarchy of human needs and how to install those into your business and making sure that those elements are touched on. We talked about creating guiding principles and a management philosophy. We talked about how to develop those principles. We also talked about creating a real safe place, and I hate the term, but it is the term, with transparency, radical candor, eliminating fear, and installing growth mindset, okay? And then the last part that we talked about was trust, and trust in the workplace from staff to leadership, leadership to staff, and just trust all around. So part 3 today, and the last part we're going to talk about is trust, ego, and decision-making, okay? Well, we touched on trust last time, so I'll just dabble in it just a little bit. And basically, my opinion on trust as leadership in a business is this. You have to give it to get it, okay? You give to get trust. And part of that whole concept is that you have to hire right. If you're not hiring right, just like we talked about, right person, right seat, and how you find those people, then it's hard to give trust. But it's your job to hire. It's not the employee's job, okay? Second part is holding people accountable. If you can do those 3 things, trust can happen. And you can give the trust because you've hired correctly, you're holding people accountable, and you have the right people in the seat, all right? In terms of leadership, leaders earn trust every day, brick by brick, not once in a while, not when you feel like it. You earn trust every single day. That staff has to trust you. They have to trust who you are. They have to trust your decision making. They have to trust your morality, right? And morality goes back to Maslow's hierarchy of human needs. Now, second part of this, ego and decision making. This is huge for leaders when building culture, right? Check your ego. Extremely difficult to do. Everybody has to work on this, all right? And here's some things I think that we can do to check our ego, because it's easy to say, hey, check your ego, right? But how do you do that? So some things that I've worked on is, one, is be solution-oriented, right? Ray Dalio, who I mention all the time, who I love, talks about an ideatocracy. That means that the best idea wins. That when you're in a conversation, you're discussing something, you should always be thinking that the best idea wins. 2 is along the same lines, but it's the idea of being guided by curiosity rather than conviction, okay? So be curious. If you're the leader, you can't just be touting orders and telling everybody what you know. If that's what you're going to do, then why is everybody else there? You're supposed to be putting talent around you. You're supposed to be working together. You're supposed to be putting ideas together to build something, right? So be guided by curiosity as a leader. Ask questions, right? Set that standard in the office. Last part is to be open-minded. This is extremely difficult, but be open-minded. I feel like I could talk about that for days. I think we've all struggled with it. I've struggled with it. It's something I constantly have to remind myself. Last part, we said trust, ego, and decision-making, right? So decision-making for leaders. I think it's very simple. You have to listen. Then you have to decide. And then you have to convey simple, clear, concise plans. That's it. So the idea, everything I talk about, be solution-oriented, ideatocracy, guided by curiosity, that's all the beginning. But at the end of the day, as a leader, you have to make decisions, and your team has to trust those decisions. So it starts with the beginning, listening, asking questions, drawing all the information, but then you need to actually make the decision. Not making decisions is a killer. You need to make them, they need to be clear, they need to be concise, and they need to be simple. And everybody needs to be, if they trust you, they will be willing and ready to follow them, okay? I hope everybody's enjoyed this little mini-series on how to build culture in the workplace. There's a ton more, there's plenty to it. I hope these videos helped, and everybody have a great week.